Hi, my name is Sharon Smith. I'm the owner at Connect Hair Studio. Yes, I am the creator of the Raw and Reflective Calendar. Interesting story about how this came about. I was sitting on a plane with my husband coming back from Nova Scotia when these ladies across the aisle seemed to be having way too much fun. And when I asked them what they were celebrating, they told me that they had raised a ton of money for breast cancer awareness. And I said, well, how did you do that? And they said, well, we did it with a naked calendar. And this light bulb flash. I thought, we could do that. So I said to my husband, I got this, let's do it. And he kind of rolled his eyes and said, oh, good Lord, okay, here we go, buckle up. And the rest is history. Since then, we have had 2 very successful calendars in support of Gilda's Club Simcoe Muskoka, and now we are super excited to be working on our 3rd calendar. The reason that I chose Gilda's Club to support was because there are so many different forms of cancer and so many different lives that have been affected by cancer, and I wanted to choose a charity that would encompass everybody and be all inclusive of everybody's stories that needed to be heard with their cancer journey. And it was really important when I thought, so that no one faces cancer alone. There are so many times throughout this pandemic that we have felt alone, and I can't imagine what it's like having cancer and already feeling alone and feeling like life is such a challenge with all of the immune suppressed systems and the fear that would be coming from that as well.
Hi, I'm Aaron Lutz. I'm the Executive Director at Gilda's Club Simcoe Muskoka, a part of the cancer support community. My job as Executive Director is to make sure that our free cancer support program is available to anyone impacted by cancer and to connect anyone who's fundraising to keep this program free for children, for caregivers, and for people diagnosed. Is so important to be able to make these connections, especially since cancer affects all of our lives. The calendar serves a couple of needs. Not only does it raise important funds for our free cancer support program, it also raises awareness. Cancer is just not a word that stays in the dictionary. It has such a huge volume of description, and truthfully, cancer is not just a single word. There's so many different kinds of cancer, so many different stories, and there's so many different ways that people come together to battle this disease together. And this calendar is just a great example of how community comes together and supports each other through their journey.
My name is Stacy LePage. Nearly 7 years ago, I was in my 2nd week of teaching my English class at the Barrie Learning Center, and I had to go to a doctor's appointment. I told my class I'd be back that afternoon. 7 years ago, I still have to return because that afternoon I was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. At that point, I thought that was death calling. Now, I don't think the same way. I'm still around, thanks to the wonderful staff at RVH, thanks to medicine, thanks to new medications that I still take every day, thanks to my community, to my support from my family, my friends. I'm so grateful for everyone. I couldn't have done this and made it through this many years without them. The first time that I met Sharon Smith, who got me involved in this calendar, was when I actually grew some hair back after chemotherapy. And I sat in her chair and she started talking to me. Of course, I had to tell her how important she was going to be in my life, being my first hairdresser after losing my hair for nearly a year. So she was trying to figure out a direction for the calendar, and I said, well, I think a lot of people, the calendar, the photos that you'll take, they all have a story to tell. And I think it's really interesting to hear the stories along with the photo. So what we can do is ask for the models to tell their stories. And so that's what we did, and I quickly became the story editor.
Hi, my name is Patricia Dent. I am an entrepreneur in Barrie, and I'm part of the Gilda's calendar, really responsible for marketing and thinking through logistics.
I'm Ryan Duncan of Talus Creative. We're a design and branding consultancy, and I'm helping Gilda design their calendar.
The reason that we were able to find the people to volunteer, both photographers and models, our graphic designer, is that they're willing to volunteer and they know this is a great cause, and they're very generous people. Really, we depend on relationships, the people that we know in our area, and people we know who do a great job, who are kind and generous people, and who believe that this is a worthy cause.
I decided to work with Gilda's on this calendar because I currently have a family member who is fighting cancer, and although there's nothing I can do to help directly, I feel this is a way that I can sort of give back or help indirectly, if not them, then someone, anyone who is currently fighting cancer as well.
I think it's really important that we all have a voice. I mean, let's face it, we all want to be heard, we want to be seen, and this is an opportunity to have a living legacy of your life. So the models that I approached were quite willingly on board. In fact, out of the 40 some odd models that I have had photographed with all of the various photographers over the last few years, they have been more than happy to share their story. The theme for the first calendar was the reflection of time. The second one was about courage at a time when the pandemic, let's face it, challenged all of us with fears, and we had to find courage anyway. This year, our theme is about connection and being connected to our community, being connected to the person that is able to give you some support and to help you pull through at times when it feels very, very scary.
For the last 3 years, I have been absolutely thrilled and inspired by the so many people who have been brave enough to do this raw and reflective calendar, and it really is raw and reflective. And I think that's what this is all about, is providing hope to those who are going through cancer, who have been through cancer, who are caregivers of someone who has cancer and they love. It's a really unknown path that we journey, and having this calendar and reading stories from people who are really telling the same story that they're feeling about the fear, the trepidation, the unknown, the anxieties, and knowing that they've come through it, living life more fully, is really, really impactful, and it helps me to continue to move forward as well. Hopefully, I'll be an inspiration to someone as well.
You know, these stories, this calendar is all about sharing. It's all about being there for each other, and connection is really, you know, a core of that. And you know, we're a social creature. We love to feel connected, and we haven't been able to do what we've wanted in that regard in the past year. So kind of feels like this is a long-deserved treat for us to be able to go through and do this project, and again realize the community that we cherish so much.